If you're new here, like, share, and subscribe so you won't miss the darkest stories of modern crime. Today, we're diving into the chilling life and crimes of Israel Keyes, a man whose calculated cruelty and meticulous planning make him one of the most disturbing serial killers in modern history. Israel Keyes was born on January 7, 1978, in Richmond, Utah, into a strict Mormon family. He was the eldest of 6 children, growing up in a household where rigid discipline, religion, and isolation defined daily life. His father, Alvin Keyes, was deeply involved in the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, and his mother, Judy, largely focused on keeping the household running. From a young age, Israel displayed a quiet intelligence and a troubling fascination with death. While other children played outside, Israel reportedly dissected small animals, studying their anatomy with precision and curiosity that unnerved both family members and neighbors. By the time he was a teenager, Keyes was already displaying a dark side. He had a meticulous, obsessive personality, often planning tasks with extraordinary attention to detail. Friends and family described him as polite, soft-spoken, and deeply unassuming, masking the violent tendencies that would later define him. He excelled in school academically, but socially, he remained distant, preferring books and solitary activities to peer interactions. This isolation, combined with early exposure to violence and a fascination with weaponry, created the perfect environment for a man who would later commit crimes that spanned states and years without detection. Keyes' criminal trajectory began not with murder, but with burglary and theft. He started small, targeting neighbors' homes and gradually escalating his methods. Unlike typical burglars, Keyes studied his victims in advance, learning their routines, security weaknesses, and vulnerabilities. His early criminal behavior displayed a signature characteristic that would define his later murders: meticulous planning and complete operational control. He would often travel great distances to commit crimes, ensuring no connection could be made to him. It was during this period that he learned how to mask his presence, covering tracks and erasing evidence, laying the groundwork for his future as a serial killer who could operate undetected for years. At 18, Keyes joined the United States Army, serving as a combat engineer. During his time in the military, he learned skills that would later aid his criminal activities, including survival, navigation, and explosives handling. While in service, he was described as disciplined and competent, blending seamlessly with his peers. Yet beneath the surface, his fascination with death and destruction continued to grow. Fellow soldiers would recall him as quiet, even solitary, often spending long hours alone in remote areas, which he would later claim were opportunities to mentally rehearse scenarios and perfect strategies for evasion and control. By the early 1990s, Keyes had developed a modus operandi that would define his murders. He would select victims randomly, often choosing travelers or individuals who had minimal connections, making their disappearances less likely to trigger immediate investigations. Once a target was chosen, he would travel hundreds of miles to commit the crime, creating what he called a kill kit, a collection of tools designed for maximum control and minimal evidence. These kits often included weapons, restraints, and burial materials, all carefully packed and hidden. He would stash them months or even years in advance in remote locations, allowing him to strike without leaving a trace back to himself. This level of preparation, patience, and foresight set him apart from most serial killers, demonstrating a cold, calculated intelligence that enabled him to operate across state lines undetected. One of Keyes' earliest confirmed murders occurred in 1998. At 6:30 a.m. on March 7th, he abducted a young woman named Heidi. She was last seen in Anchorage, Alaska, where Keyes had traveled under the guise of normal daily activity. Using his pre-stashed kill kit, Keyes executed the crime with chilling precision. He restrained her, transported her to a remote location, and murdered her with methodical efficiency, leaving no immediate evidence and ensuring her body would not be discovered for some time. This first murder set a template for his later crimes: anonymity, control, and complete operational secrecy. Over the next several years, Keyes' crimes escalated in frequency and complexity. He traveled extensively, committing murders across multiple states including Alaska, Washington, Texas, and New York. Keyes often targeted individuals he met randomly in public spaces, selecting victims based on opportunity, vulnerability, and the potential to maintain anonymity. He was known to abduct people from their homes or streets, using his charm and unassuming demeanor to gain their trust before striking. Unlike many serial killers, Keyes exhibited no clear pattern in terms of victim profile or geographic location, which made him extraordinarily difficult to track. The most notorious and widely publicized of Keyes' murders was that of Samantha Koenig, an 18-year-old barista from Anchorage, Alaska. On February 12, 2001, Keyes entered a coffee shop where Samantha worked. He charmed her, requested assistance, and then abducted her using his pre-planned kill kit. Over the next several days, he held Samantha captive in a remote location, meticulously documenting her movements and controlling every aspect of her life. He eventually murdered her with the same cold precision that had characterized his earlier crimes. Her body was later discovered buried in a remote area, a testament to Keyes' ability to manipulate the environment and avoid detection. This murder, while horrifying, would ultimately provide investigators with the first concrete link to Keyes, as he left subtle traces that were eventually connected through forensic investigation and his later confessions. Keyes' methodology was unique in several ways. Unlike many serial killers, he did not maintain a comfort zone around his home or work. Instead, he relied on extensive travel and pre-staged locations. He used commercial transportation, rented vehicles, and cash transactions to avoid leaving trails. Additionally, he often stored weapons and supplies in remote caches, allowing him to operate without returning to familiar locations. This level of planning, foresight, and logistical sophistication made him nearly invisible to law enforcement for years. It also demonstrated his profound understanding of human behavior, geography, and crime scene management. His ability to maintain a normal facade was equally chilling. Those who knew him personally described him as polite, intelligent, and charming, often completely unsuspecting of his darker tendencies. He maintained relationships with family and girlfriends, including his long-term partner, Alexis, without ever revealing his criminal activities. Friends and acquaintances frequently remarked on his calm demeanor and meticulous habits, unaware that behind this veneer of normalcy lay a man capable of extreme violence. His dual life allowed him to operate with impunity, committing crimes without drawing attention to his movements or behavior. Keyes' crimes were not limited to murder. He was also known to commit burglary, arson, and financial crimes, often as a way to facilitate his murders or fund his travel. He studied law enforcement procedures, understanding how investigations unfolded and what evidence would be scrutinized. This knowledge allowed him to manipulate crime scenes, dispose of evidence, and evade detection for years. His careful attention to detail, combined with his mobility, created a level of elusiveness rarely seen in modern criminal history. Investigators eventually caught Keyes due to a combination of luck and forensic diligence. After the abduction and murder of Samantha Koenig, law enforcement agencies in Alaska intensified their investigation, gathering witness statements, examining surveillance footage, and analyzing evidence from the crime scene. They eventually traced a digital footprint, financial transaction, and rental car usage back to Keyes, placing him in the vicinity of the crime. Once confronted, Keyes confessed to numerous additional murders across the United States, revealing the scope and scale of his crimes. Keyes' confessions painted a portrait of a man who derived pleasure not from notoriety, but from the control and anonymity of his actions. He meticulously planned murders months or even years in advance, choosing victims at random to satisfy his psychological needs rather than any personal vendetta. His confessions revealed locations of remote burial sites, methods of abduction, and tools used in his crimes, providing investigators with unprecedented insight into his mind. He admitted to killing at least 11 confirmed victims, though he hinted that the actual number could be significantly higher, leaving the full extent of his crimes unknown. The psychological profile of Israel Keyes is complex and disturbing. He exhibited traits consistent with psychopathy, lack of empathy, superficial charm, manipulativeness, and calculated risk-taking. Unlike many serial killers driven by sexual compulsion or revenge, Keyes' motivations appeared rooted in control, planning, and the intellectual challenge of evading law enforcement. He enjoyed the anonymity of his crimes, taking deliberate steps to prevent detection and meticulously avoiding patterns that could link his murders. Psychologists studying Keyes emphasized his high degree of intelligence, combined with a lack of moral restraint, as factors that allowed him to operate successfully for over a decade. Keyes' downfall came not from mistakes in his crimes, but from the attention of investigators who combined modern forensic methods with careful analysis of his travel patterns, rental history, and digital footprints. His arrest in March of 2001 marked the end of an era of carefully executed, geographically dispersed murders. Once in custody, he provided investigators with detailed confessions, leading to the recovery of victims' remains and closure for families long haunted by uncertainty. His cooperation, while reluctant, revealed the extraordinary lengths he went to in order to avoid detection and the methodical, almost surgical approach he applied to every aspect of his criminal activities. The story of Israel Keyes stands as a chilling testament to the potential for calculated evil in modern society. He represents a rare breed of serial killer, one who blends intelligence, meticulous planning, and mobility to commit crimes on a scale and with a precision that challenges traditional law enforcement methods. His life and actions underscore the importance of forensic science, interagency cooperation, and public awareness in detecting and preventing crimes that might otherwise go unnoticed for years. Keyes' crimes continue to be studied by criminal psychologists, law enforcement professionals, and true crime enthusiasts, serving as a case study in extreme premeditation and operational control. The impact of his actions extends beyond the immediate victims, influencing investigative protocols, criminal profiling techniques, and public understanding of modern serial crime. He remains a stark reminder of the dangers posed by individuals capable of blending seamlessly into society while committing acts of extreme violence. Throughout his life, Keyes demonstrated an extraordinary capacity for concealment, planning, and execution, traits that allowed him to operate across state lines and avoid detection for years. His story is not only one of horror, but also a cautionary tale about the hidden dangers that can exist behind a calm and intelligent exterior. It emphasizes the need for vigilance, forensic sophistication, and interagency cooperation in the pursuit of justice. Today, the legacy of Israel Keyes is preserved not only in the annals of criminal history, but also in the lessons learned by law enforcement and psychologists studying his behavior. His meticulous planning, random victim selection, and operational security continue to inform modern investigative techniques, highlighting both the capabilities of determined criminals and the evolving tools used to bring them to justice. If you found this story compelling, make sure to like, share, and subscribe so we can continue bringing you the darkest true crime stories from around the world. Understanding the minds of killers like Israel Keyes is a chilling but necessary step in preventing future tragedies and learning how law enforcement and society can respond to such calculated threats. His crimes are a stark reminder that evil can sometimes wear the mask of normalcy, and only through careful observation, cooperation, and forensic science can such individuals be stopped before they harm again. Israel Keyes died in December of 2011 while in custody, taking his secrets with him. Yet the chilling details of his crimes, his methodology, and his psychological profile remain a focus of study. True crime enthusiasts, investigators, and psychologists continue to analyze his life, seeking to understand not only what drove him to kill, but how someone so calculated could operate undetected for so long. His story is a reminder that the most dangerous individuals may often appear ordinary, hiding extraordinary evil behind a mask of normality. By examining his life, investigators hope to improve predictive models for identifying and apprehending serial offenders. The case also underscores the importance of interstate communication among law enforcement, as Keyes' crimes spanned multiple jurisdictions. Without cooperation, his ability to remain undetected would have continued indefinitely. In many ways, Israel Keys serves as both a cautionary tale and a benchmark for law enforcement and criminal psychology, illustrating the challenges posed by highly organized mobile serial killers. As disturbing as the details of his crimes are, they offer invaluable insight into criminal behavior, risk management, and investigative strategy. Keyes' life and crimes remind us that evil can be methodical, patient, and extraordinarily difficult to detect, and that understanding the mechanisms of such criminal behavior is essential in the ongoing effort to protect society from similar threats.